Hello. We're on again. Sorry if the audio is bad.
We got a
We're
mic
having
problem.
a mic difficulty.
Some
I mean, we gotta talk to our producer and these guys, man.
we
I don't know what we're paying for.
We got to talk to our team. You know, our team will get connected. To
Somebody's
their
getting
team.
fired. That's all I'm
That's
gonna
all
say. Somebody is not gonna have their job after this. Because
So-
I don't have a mic.
This is the topic. You are way more important than you think you are.
Successful too.
First, again, I want to go back a little. Just the fact that you're alive to begin with. The fact that you thought that when you were a little seaman, just coming through and you got through, that's already 1 out of a million that you are even
But
born.
you are, you are.
Right. That's just to start it off because
Well, we don't really get into that. It's like
there's a
the
lot
fact
We can
that
go
the
to the-
Earth
even exists.
exist out of all the planets and the Big Bang
Right.
banging stuff around and human life came upon here when we could actually talk about this is
Oh, okay.
already
Oh, all right.
very fucking like
Stardust, right? We're just stardust
Stardust.
in the wind.
So like the fact that happened is like
Crazy
probably
already.
already makes you special. Like,
But here's another thing
you
people
can
don't
actually think about it.
people don't get, like the fact that you, whoever you are listening, and
We take you as whoever you are.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of people you
what
like,
you know, what you're into,
what you think you are, if you're a unicorn.
doesn't matter.
I don't care about any of that.
The fact that you
You're speaking the truth.
walking through struggles of life, getting through specific jobs or relationships with women or whatever you're into, getting through like these are all mini successes. Going through failures and still bouncing back, and life is not fucking easy. Life is it's a
50
tough.
says it, bro. Life is. I mean, death is easy because life is hard.
It's a tough
It'll
run,
leave you
dude.
physically and emotionally.
Sometimes
scarred.
even if you're in the middle of like in between jobs or in between relationships or just trying to figure it out or trying to reinvent yourself or trying to do like this is all human struggle that we go through.
it's a balancing act.
Yeah, dude, and it's not an easy
It's a
balancing act
balancing
either. And you still got to be proud of yourself for the fact that you've made it not only this far, but you're gonna make it through this next phase or this next thing you're going through. But just to go back to the normal basic things, you think that you getting out of your parents' house is a big fucking deal? That's a big deal. To be able to survive on
And
your
listen, this whole topic is based in the United States.
own, 100%.
So don't
United
get it
States, bro.
twisted. I'm not saying that you live in another country that you barely can eat, you can't got food, and you're listening to me and I'm trying to tell you your life is great, man. You can do this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm only basing this here. So don't take this out of context because I'm just saying that. Because I think that's a whole different. I can't even speak on that, so I don't even know. But go ahead.
It's true.
I'm just saying. I just want to base on that because I'm being
because we
being
don't know.
realistic.
Yeah, we
Like,
Ethiopia.
there's people that can't eat.
Yeah.
Like you
People
don't have
eating
food
dirt.
to go get.
People are eating dirt.
We have a lot of access to everything.
Yeah.
Like you can go get a job.
So don't
There's
think that
places
we're
now hiring.
ignorant to that. We know
Yeah,
that.
I'm just making sure you know that I know.
But
that.
when people go through shit, or even when people
these
just are
sometimes
even
small
mini
things.
successes, many things that that something that you might look past and not think that it's that it's a win. It's usually a win. Like just being able to afford to eat, or being able to afford, like there's some people out there, like he just said, that are way less fortunate. So if you look at that perspective, you are winning. You just, maybe some people are slower to get to the win.
what we're comparing it to is here, and you're comparing to here, but you're trying to always compare to here, so you're never there. So
Right.
you always think you're
It's all dependent on what you're
pushing.
looking
Like
at.
you're always pushing for, and you could keep striving for the top. I don't have a problem. I think people should always keep going for better, bigger, better, and going all that. You gotta appreciate where you're at now,
Yeah.
and where your successes are, and look at those and calculate and count those as successes.
Well, what? Give us an example.
Just getting, finishing school, right? Finishing school is
a
a
big deal.
success, right? Getting a job,
Big deal.
being able to go to work, right? Having the opportunity to do that, right? Having good relationships, having people around you, sometimes people that are good people,
Mhm.
right? Fostering those relationships. It's like, these are all things, right? Staying healthy, right? And then sometimes that's uncontrollable too.
But health is wealth.
Health is wealth, so you got to do that. So these are all things that, for you individually, they're going to be always different than mine. Like mine are going to be different than yours, different than Lou's.
For sure.
We might have some that cross, right, that are common, but for the most part, they might be different, right? And I think you need to embrace the times that you do make progress in certain things. Just like even with weight loss, they tell you with weight loss, like dropping a pound,
Mhm.
right?
It's a success.
It's a
It's a win.
success. Take it as a win and just keep going. Like you might not get the 10 pounds yet, but the 1 pound is good. The 2 pounds are good. Even if you get a setback, it's just looking at things in a positive mindset and just, like I said, taking. You're not as bad as you think you are. A lot of people think they're so worse, but there's always somebody who's in a worse position than you,
And they get very
or came from a worse position than you
Yeah.
that succeeded. So
it's
it's
all
like
it's all depending on what
when
you're
you see
exposed to. It's all depending on what you're comparing yourself to. And I think too, like when you get stuck in this rut or this frustration of like life isn't working out or things aren't. It's all about timing sometimes too. Like
It is
you
time.
might run into
Season.
that. Yeah, you might
Season.
run into that. Not now, but maybe it was just a bad time at that point when you wanted it the most. It wasn't there, and then 2 months later, it was. How many times does that happen? And I guess he even said it's not even just like career wise or money wise. It could be
Oh,
just
no,
friendship. Do you know how
everything.
weird, how crazy it is that there's like even if you have a girl, how crazy is the fact that this other person with a different social security number, a different DNA strand, just wants to be around you all the time? That's crazy to me. I'm not saying that's just a human thing either, because it's also in animals. But when you see it in a human form, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and that's a definite win. But some people will completely take that for granted and not even look at the fact that how crazy does it somebody loves you and and enjoys your company to the point where they want to be around you all of the time.
Well, I think that's not healthy, but yeah. So
Well, they want either way. You're their favorite person in the world, and they want to be around you.
No,
That's
I think all
not
the
an
time,
unhealthy
that's
thing
not
either.
You gotta be. Anyways, so what I'm saying is, you gotta take all those into consideration. You gotta foster all the wins.
Yeah.
People don't foster the wins; they like to foster the losses. They like to embrace the losses, right? Because they're always, if you meet up somebody and like, man, how's everything going? They're gonna tell you about the losses.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
It's very rarely because they don't look at all the successes that they had and they don't use them as a like they're not big. They're not enough to talk about to you.
Right.
They're gonna talk to you about the losses. Like the losses is what's gonna be like their topic. And I think people focus too much on
the negative.
yeah, focus on the positive, the things that you've overcome, right? People only tell you, the only time you hear people talk to you is if they got a house, or if they got like a new car,
Right.
or if they got a job. But those are things, but those are not, I don't think those are as important as a lot of other things that we take for granted,
Mhm.
right? Just like health, right? Because you could buy all that shit and end up being sick and die.
Mhm.
So it's like all that shit I had, just like you see a lot of people with money and successful people, and all that shit I had, and then that's gone, right? So it's gone. You don't even see it no more because you did. So, or relationships, you could have all that shit and have nobody to share.
That's what I was saying too the other day about not putting don't put your worth behind something that can be taken away. So like don't put your internal worth into external things. Is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
If you put an external things can be taken away.
Yeah,
from you.
it's always good that if you want nice things or you want certain things or there's just certain things that you want to achieve and get or grab or have. If you want to buy a Lamborghini dining room table for $70,000, hey, more power to you. But your success is not depending on whether you buy the Lamborghini table for $70,000.
No, that's another thing too. Being
Right,
able to
it's
discuss it, being able to talk about it is a little weird, right? Because you don't want to be braggadocious, but you don't necessarily have to go directly towards I got a new car, or I got a new thing, or a new shiny object.
Well, that's what people.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be, dude. Yesterday, I was able to. Oh, dude, I'm just sitting back training kids and trying to help the future of the plumbing business. What'd you do? When somebody asked you, like, how are you doing? It's a very weird question because somebody will either going to be completely braggy or completely negative.
And I try to stay in the middle. When people ask me,
Yeah.
I'll be like, man, life is good, man. Everything is
Yeah,
great.
bro,
Family's
it's working
good.
out.
Everybody's
healthy.
Right? I don't get into too many details. Sometimes it's just a brief conversation half the time. We're not bumping into each other to have a background history of each other. I went through this and this and this and this and this.
No, everything's good.
But then sometimes you bump into people and it's all bad shit and you're like,
man, bro,
you just ruined my
Just
day,
give me
bro.
a whole sob story and tell me
ruined my whole goddamn
shit.
day with yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that too. And I think, but if you came from a positive standpoint, you're not gonna come with that shit.
Yeah, and also personal growth has a lot to do with your personal wins. So a lot of my wins are very small. Some of them are big, and then some of them are very small. And I celebrate even the smallest ones because those are a slow climb to the bigger things. So it's personal to me. So I don't really share them often.
I tell you, like the YouTube channel, right?
I just keep them myself. Yeah.
The YouTube channel is a good example, right? It's not booming. It's not like where I want it to be, right?
Not yet,
But I know if I keep working on it slowly but surely, it's gonna get there.
for sure.
It's like Pitbull says, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So you know, and I don't know if he came up with that saying. I just a video I saw.
It's a good
Probably somebody else said it. But anyway, so it's just those little steps. I don't mind taking that route to get to the top. I don't mind taking the little steps or the stairs instead of taking the elevator type of shit.
Yeah.
So
Well,
and I embrace that.
a
And,
lot
and
of times-
if I take the stairs and I don't get to the top, right? Even with this YouTube channel, whatever, the process of it,
Right.
I embrace the process and I embrace what I got from the process.
Yeah.
Because I learned a lot of things from failing. Like I learned a lot of things from trying to grow. Like I was in a company with, you know, Primerica business or whatever, and I still do in a little bit here and there. But like I learned a lot in the process of trying to grow that business.
Right.
I learned a lot about business. I learned a lot about my individual self. That's when I got into more reading. So I don't take that as a loss. Like if you look back and you're like, oh, your environmental business, yeah, it didn't, but I grew from that.
100%.
Right? It wasn't a loss for me. I didn't lose anything. Right? I grew.
You
Everything
gained.
I got was gained.
Yeah.
So, and I look back at a lot of my losses like that. Even my, you know, criminal shit or whatever. I look back, I learned something. I gained something from it. I gained more maturity. I gained this and that. I gained the you know, more different thinking and stuff like that. So if you look back, and that's why I say about, you know, positive thinking. People think about positive thinking is like, oh, it's raining, it's a great day.
Yeah.
All right, it's you broke your leg. Oh, that's a great
Or
thing.
they think of it like
right?
preachy, like everything's great. Well, I don't like that guy. That guy's always coming around telling me how everything's
Well, being
great all the
positive
time.
is good too, but it's like I broke my arm. It's a great thing.
Yeah,
No, I'm not
it
saying
just
that.
sucks.
That
But
just sucks. You got a broken arm.
whatever
got a
you did
broken
to break
bone.
your arm, kind of figure
But
out
like
how to
what
do
I'm
that
saying
again.
is, there's some things you're in a car. I got a car accident this morning. It's a great thing. I'm not saying you ride around and I just bang into shit and I get hit and I'm like, oh, this is great. I love this, right? Yeah.
It's not always that great.
So I'm saying that's not a positive thing. What I'm saying is you gotta
You can take something out of
You
that.
could take the bad and you could take the
You
good.
could-
Like you could
yeah.
take it and you just eat it. Like, alright, it's cool. It is what it is.
Shit happens.
Shit happens. It is what it is. So it's like that's when people think about. Because I tell people positive thinking, and sometimes they like think like you just walking around with a fucking
With
flower
like a-
on your head. And, oh, everything is great, but
It's
no,
not.
it doesn't. Bad shit happens all the time.
But it's
Like-
all depending on how you take it.
I
and how
just
you
embrace it.
interpret
It is what it is. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. Half time there's nothing you can do about
Most
it.
of the failures
happen.
are lessons learned, and the journey is
The
super
journey is
important.
part of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
super
gotta
important.
grow within that journey.
You may not be in that position or that spot yet, but if you keep chiseling at it, if you keep working at it, and that's what it is.
And you don't need, and
work.
sometimes you don't need, and I believe this, you know, I don't know if this is true or factual, but sometimes I believe you don't need, some people don't even take the journey to be successful. They just become successful because of opportunities and putting themselves in the right place, and they haven't learned enough to embrace the journey, right? They haven't learned enough to embrace the win,
Yeah.
right? So like, that's
Have
why
to
you
go
see a
through
lot
it.
of people that get a lot of money, right? They get famous really quick, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see them anymore because they didn't learn enough in the journey to be able to hold it. Right? Like you built a relationship up with like it's like getting married and having a great marriage. You can't have a great marriage if you just got married.
Okay, you didn't build it.
You gotta build that
And
and
then
grow
get married.
that, and now you look back at it 50 years later, and it was a great
Me
marriage.
and my wife just talked about it. We've been together for 20 years. 20 years, dude. We've been together through phases and all this crazy stuff, from changing our mindsets and thinking differently, and we grew together through all of that. We wouldn't appreciate where we're at now with our kid and our marriage and our anniversaries coming up. We wouldn't appreciate all that unless we went through all of that together as much as we do now. I'm not saying that it can't be done a little bit differently, but I'm telling you, dude, I appreciate it so much more
And
now.
there's some people that are gonna have marriages that don't have a lot of downs,
Mhm.
and they have a lot of ups, and there's some people that are gonna have more downs than ups.
But
at the end of the day, it's like
yeah, it's okay.
it's-
It makes you better.
As long as you got better from it. That's
You
another
want to
thing.
know
Let
same
me
thing
not
with
say
plumbing.
that.
Same thing with plumbing. I'm good at. I tell my helpers all the time. The only difference between me and you is experience. I've just been through a lot for a very long time, and I've seen the same problem 100,000 times, and I've figured out 15 different ways I can fix the same shit. I've been through it. I've been through this shit. I've been through the pressure test. I've figured out how to get around it. It's if we both looking at the same water heater, it's the only difference between me and the next man, the guy I'm training, is I've just done it.
Yeah, you've seen every scenario.
2,000 times. Yeah.
You've seen every scenario. Like when you go in and there's a problem, I mean, you go in somebody's house and they say they got a leak or something. You've been through a lot of
Almost
different
every possible
experiences and
scenario.
scenarios. So you're like,
I've been
it's got to be one of these.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing with with anything. But if you didn't take those steps and learn during that process, and there's a lot of people that, like I said, they go through the whole experience and they didn't learn anything.
Right.
Like that's why people can get married 4 or 5 times.
Some
right?
people are.
They didn't learn. They just like.
There's another thing too. When I'm
nothing
having a
wrong with
discussion with some people, like their mindset isn't where my mindset is yet. Not saying that I'm smarter than anybody. It's just that they're not interpreting what they're going through yet. They're not even ready to talk about it
I
yet.
think it's embracing.
Sometimes that person eventually does talk to me about what I was talking about 2 years later. But at that moment in time when I'm already seeing it because I'm on the outside looking in, he's so caught up in it, or they're so caught up in the thing that realization hasn't come to them yet. It's going to come to them in a year from now.
I think that
and
people
they're-
don't embrace ignorance.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant on certain shit. I'm not gonna argue with people on certain things I don't know about.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about it. Even the things that I think I know about, I might not know. I don't know everything about it.
Yeah.
So if I embrace ignorance, that's when I can always learn.
Right.
I embrace that I'm ignorant about shit.
Yeah.
Right? I can always learn because there's always something for me to learn. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you always have that thinking of like, there's
Yeah.
always something for me to learn, even from bad shit or good shit. I can learn something. And I think, a lot of people don't do that, and that's why they stay in their ways forever. And they're like, and then when the bad shit happens, they embrace. You know what I mean? Like they just. I think that's part of growth is understanding that you're ignorant about everything.
And not thinking you know everything too.
Kind of,
It's
yeah.
going into it with an open mind and kind of going, oh, okay, well maybe I could do it this way, or maybe I could think about it that way, or maybe I've been thinking about it the wrong way the whole time, and I
think there's
you
even a
finally get
saying
an
somewhere.
epiphany. You finally get an epiphany of like, holy crap, dude, I've been doing it. I have a reoccurring dream. I have a reoccurring dream. And the reoccurring dream, because I think that I'm so important in my life, I have a reoccurring dream that sometimes when I'll go to sleep, I get into an argument with my wife, I go to sleep, and I wake up and I'm in a completely different place, and I'm having a conversation.
Where's the place?
It's heaven.
Oh, goddamn, you're dead.
Yeah, I died in my sleep, but I didn't know
Okay.
what happened. So I'm talking to some random person that I don't know in a white room, and I'm like, where am I? What's happening? I got to get back. And he's like, no, it's over. It's done. I'm dead. And I'm like, no, but I have so much more I have to do, so much more I have to accomplish. I need, my family needs me. I need to be there. They're like, they're gonna be fine. This guy knows everything about time. He pulls up a big flat screen and shows me what their lives are like. My daughter's married to a great guy. My wife's married to a new person. My friends, everybody
That's
moved
great.
on. Everybody's happy. And realistically, when I see this, I'm like, actually, like, I'm just really wanted everybody to be happy anyway. Like, no matter what it was, that my overall process wasn't me even being involved. I just want them to be happy. I just want so. And then I started thinking about how everything's significant and how everything I do is very important, and I could get snapped out like this, like that quickly, and maybe that when I do get up there, I will have that perspective on like, now that it's over, holy crap, like the amount of accomplishments that I was able to achieve is crazy already as it is. Some people even say like, life could be exhausting. It is, but those failures will look at it as a sword. Rogan actually said this. He said, in order to create the best sword, it had to be folded and forged and folded 1,000 times and banged on 180 million times in order for it to be as sharp as it is, in order for it to be as durable as it is, and to make the best swords takes a very long time in order for that. So sometimes you have to be forged in order to become the thing you're going to become later in life. It just might not be right now.
Add this onto the sword. Eventually, the blades get stolen.
For sure.
You have to sharpen the blade.
Yes.
Sharpen the blade, baby. You know what
Woosah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Sharpen the blade. It's gonna
Nagi.
get dull. You know what I mean? I just facts.
good.
Just kick that shit to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you gotta sharpen the blade. I always gotta keep. I always want to keep learning, keep growing. That's why I like Joe Rogan's show too. I keep talking about Joe Rogan every show. I'm sorry. I'm a fan.
Yeah. It's good.
But
It's good
I
guy.
just, he keeps learning. I keep learning more shit. I learn more shit on Joe Rogan than I learn on like National Geographic.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead. So, yeah. So that reoccurring dream, you're in heaven.
Yeah,
and
but once
you're
I
not as important as you think.
I'm not as important as I think that I am. Everybody's gonna be happy with or without me. I have to stake a claim and understand I'm creating a legacy. If I want to be remembered in this world, I have to do everything I can to be not just successful, but just to be remembered, to be more memorable.
It's your purpose.
Yeah.
A lot of people there's a purpose, but that's what I said about it goes all.
I want my kids to be looking at a picture of me like this, like, and they're like, this guy freaking made the whole road
We
different
talk
for
about
us.
that all the time.
He created
the
a whole
portrait.
new lane for us that we didn't have before he existed.
Portrait
He
of the
was
Father.
funny. He did this. He did that. Right? Like I
And
want them to be
eventually-
able to talk about me.
And
I don't want to be just a guy that they pass by the page and they're just like, I don't.
And eventually,
We only have
you,
one
you
picture
do
of
get
that guy.
erased, unless you're like a historical type of figure.
Oh, I'm gonna be, dude.
Because 10,000 years later, they're not gonna know anything.
They're gonna be like, dude, you remember this guy here? He's got a bunch of
10,000
YouTube stuff.
years,
He's got a bunch of stuff on
it's gonna
YouTube.
be so low on the algorithm, they ain't gonna know it.
That's-
It might even be in the virtual
No,
chip in your
dude, they're gonna
brain.
bring this back up later on, like 100 years from now, and be like, these guys knew everything. We didn't even know these guys existed, and we should have been listening to them the whole time.
Like Bill and Ted.
Like
that's
Bill
what
and
it's gonna
But seriously, appreciate your journey. Don't take most of the failures that you're going through are actually successes, and they're actually gonna make you.
be. No, failure is failure.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah,
You
failure is
fail.
failure, but still, yeah, you failed.
But you can learn from it.
Failure.
But you can learn from
But
failure. It's a learning.
Even Jay-Z says it.
Yeah, you can learn.
Mhm.
And he's a fucking historian. He's a philosopher.
Like you're going, yeah.
Socrates.
The great
Great.
Jay-Z,
Jazzy.
Yeah.
Zizzy. He said this one time.
our
He's-
great Lord Elon Musk once said. But our Lord and Savior. But I think that the overall is just take the wins.
Appreciate where you're at
Take the wins, man.
and
Even the smallest ones.
thrive for more. Appreciate where you're at. Thrive for more.
Super important.
It doesn't matter where you're at and what part of the journey you're in. No matter how old you are, where you at, just keep pushing.
Keep going, bro.
Enjoy life, man. You only get one time on here, so once that's over, it's done. Data.
Exactly.
You hear me?
Peace. That was a good one.